Hello, I'm Professor Rad, and today we're going to divide some numbers. These numbers are going to be positives and negatives and all kinds combined. So the really nice thing about dividing signed numbers is that the basic premise, the basic rule, is exactly the same as multiplying. So when we did subtracting, we had to turn it into an addition problem in order to subtract. For dividing, you don't have to change it to multiplying right now. For dividing, we're just going to divide like normal and then follow the same rules as multiplying. So if the two numbers you're dividing have the same sign, then your answer is positive. And if the signs are different, then your answer is negative. So let's go ahead and work through a few problems. So for this first one, we've got a negative 36 divided by a negative 9. So the signs are the same, so our final answer is going to be positive. And then I ignore the sign and just say, well, how many times does 9 go into 36? So 9 goes into 36 4 times. For part B, I've got a positive being divided by a negative. So since the signs of the two numbers are different, our answer will be negative. Just like when we multiply, if the signs are different, you get a negative. Then ignore the signs and say, how many times does 6 go into 36? Well, 6 times 6 is 36. So for our answer, we end up with a negative 6. Then down here at the bottom, we have a negative 36 being divided by a 3. So the signs of the two numbers are different. We've got a negative and a positive. So we're going to get a negative answer. And now, I don't know how many times 3 goes into 36. So I'm going to do a little long division here. Okay, 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. And we subtract, get nothing. Bring down the 6. 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 3 is 6, with no remainder. So that means 3 goes into 36 12 times. Now, notice that it doesn't matter which number is bigger or smaller. In example B, the bigger number was positive, but in example C, the bigger number is negative. It also doesn't matter which number comes first, whether the positive or the negative number comes first. If the signs are different, you end up with a negative answer. And if the signs are the same, you end up with a positive answer. All right, let's go along with example D. So this time, they're very much telling us we've got a positive and a positive. This is like a normal division question. I could have just as easily written this as 36 divided by 2. So we know our answer is going to be a positive number in the end. And now we've got to figure out how many times does 2 go into 36. So let's work that one out using some long division as well. So 2 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract that, get 1, and then bring it down. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16, with no remainder. So we end up with an 18. So our answer is a positive 18. Okay, now E and F are a little bit different because E and F both involve 0. So as a reminder, when you divide with 0, anything divided by 0 is undefined. And anything that 0 is divided by is going to be 0, unless you're trying to divide again by 0. In other words, this expression that we're trying to solve, it means what number times 0 is going to give you a negative 36. Now the problem here is that anything times 0 is 0. So there's no number I can put here. So this is undefined. For part F, if I think of this the same way, reading backwards as multiplication, it means what number times negative 36 is going to equal 0? That's what it means. Well, in order to get 0, anything times 0 is 0. So our answer here is 0. All right, so I've got some problems for you to try on your own. In these first 6, basically the same thing we just did. Try to figure out if the answer is going to be positive or negative. And then for these next 4, use your calculator to figure out the quotients. Remember, if you're using your calculator, you've got to be careful not to use the subtraction key instead of the negative key, because you could get different answers. In our next video, we're going to start looking at some longer problems where we combine operations, so using our order of operations with signed numbers. I'm looking forward to seeing you then, and in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day.